Hello ladies and gents, I am Diffin, and welcome back to Particle Fleet Emergence, a Creeper World Chronicle. In this episode we're going to view the Codex and look at duty. Let us view sometime later in redacted space. Kerry and Anna, have you completed the summary? We have, and it is nearly unbelievable. We've also have the records of the precursors, and now we know they were called the Scioli. And we now know that the particulate is and what happened to the Scioli. The story, humanity's story, is both amazing and tragic. I have prepared an executive summary. It is available on everyone's console. When ready, we wait your orders, Chief Tygon. Okay! Wow. Okay. Executive summary, info cache content. Human civilization did not first emerge on what we called the origin world. Humans first developed many millions of years ago on a world referred to in records as Terra, Earth, Erd, among many other names. Over many thousand cycles, they developed technology and eventually colonized most of the worlds in the galaxy. They encountered no other intelligent life forms. Many thousands of cycles passed, and when the destruction suddenly came, it came in the form of a mindless substance they referred to as Creeper. It would wipe out worlds clean and spread through the galaxy over the course of just a few cycles. It could be held back for a while, but it would always overwhelm any defences. A scarce few survivors, approximately 50,000, constructed a ship city and began nomadic existence. They eventually discovered the source of the Creeper threat and destroyed what they called the Nexus. This was the end of the First Common Era and beginning of the Second CE. The Second CE was marked by the recolonisation of the galaxy after a near-fatal beginning. At the beginning of the Second CE, the survivors encountered a resurgent Creeper threat. The threat was neutralised, and the ultimate source of the Creeper was revealed to be the race called Loki. This ancient and alien race had begun spreading the Creeper through countless galaxies over billions of cycles. In time, many cycles into the Second CE, the Creeper threat returned again and destroyed their civilization. This pattern, with both minor and significant variations, would repeat 144 times. Of note, there are recurrences of specific names across all civilizations. Old Man, Plateus, Abraxas, Skarsgård, Dragur, Alana, Lea, Anna, Dax and Varro are common occurrences. They do not appear in every civilization, but they are nevertheless common names for individuals that play important historical roles. Particularly absent is the name Tychon. The roles these individuals play in their respective histories seem to be related to transitional periods, the time of one civilization and the emergence of the next. In most cases, individual bearings these names portend the end of one civilization and the beginning of a subsequent era. Basically every single game. The 144th civilization, the ones we have called the precursors, called themselves the Scioli. They emerged from the ashes of their former civilizations and recolonised the galaxy as the others before, but they discovered infocaches nearly early in their history and described the history of human civilizations. This discovery, though uncommon, was not unprecedented. What was unprecedented that the Scioli embraced the information rather than attempt to conceal it. Unlike any and all other emergent civilizations, the Scioli chose to expose this information to dedicate their existence to understand and preventing the reoccurrence of the destruction of what they knew would eventually come. The Scioli advanced many areas of understanding, both science and philosophy. They discovered what they believed to be true purpose of the Creeper threat. They believed its purpose was not blind destruction, but rather related to the information collection. The purpose was to identify something they called the Ark, which became a central element in the Scioli's philosophy of existence. The Ark, they believed, was a form of universal singleton, something of which only one could exist, and has ever existed. The Creeper's purpose, the Scioli reasoned, was to discover this Ark for the Loki. The Scioli, perhaps out of urgency, perhaps desperation, dedicate their entire galactic civilization to uncovering the Ark before the Loki. They identified a massive region of space which we now call redacted space. It contained millions of worlds and systems. They vacated these worlds and created an automation whose purpose was to create patterns to record vast amounts of information, much as the Creeper. This particulate would collect information from vast structures, but rather than the destruction of civilizations, the particulate would create its own structure through ever-evolving patterns. It was itself a kind of life form, but with only one purpose. It would live and die at an accelerated cycle, so that others may not. So I actually thought the particulate was the creeper, just in space. But no, it's interesting. The plan appears to have nearly worked. In fact, it seems as though the plan would have worked had the Cereali not ceased their efforts. For reasons not recorded, they stopped their search for the Ark and sent a message to the Loki, and then sent about preparing for the end. Part of the preparations were to collect and update all the info caches in the galaxy. They wrote them in... They wrote to them the history of humanity as they had discovered it. They intentionally left out their own history and recorded it in a single info cache they placed on what we called the origin world. That world was in the middle of the redacted space and the origin of the particulate. The Cereali reasoned that the knowledge of the Ark should not be generally known, at least not for most of the subsequent civilizations. Only near the end should the information become available. This brings us to now and our role in the unfolding events. From a history of 145 civilizations spread over millions of cycles, it seems that we are part of the events that have galactic implications. Through subtle manipulation by the Cereali or the others, we have been led to here at this time to discover this information. What we should do with this knowledge is not described in the Codex of the Cereali. That was a pain. Particularly not having ever read it before. Anyway, I understand. I think we all understand. Crew, we entered redacted space for personal reasons. We thought we were better than any that came before. We thought we could discover the secrets of the origin world and profit greatly. I suppose we were right. We were indeed different, and we did discover these secrets. Now we face a great choice. It's alright, Danu. I see the sensor scans too. Nearly every system now is flooding with the particulate. We can manage to hop from one system to a system and survive a while longer, but it is unlikely we'll ever be able to return home. I have owed much to you, crew, but I've never asked this much before. While we still can, I propose we immediately jump to the nearest system with an info cache, write to it what information we have learned, and send a message back home. It would take a substantial burst of energy to send the message over that range. We might be able to send a small message if Cammy and I make some modifications. I understand. If we can get a message back that describes what we have learned and the location of the cache, perhaps others could make a dedicated mission to retrieve it and send the data back. They would have to deploy a series of relay transporters in rift space to transport that amount of data, and it would likely be a suicide mission. Who would do that? I know of only one man who would do this. The question, crew, is will you do it? Sign me up, sir. Where Ogun goes, I go. I wouldn't miss this. The course of action is wise and just. Our fates have been determined our whole lives, Draco Tycon. Let's see this through. And your old friend? You don't have to ask. I've always known we were destined for something great. I'm not about to miss the moment when it arrives. Very well. Crew, we have one final mission. We must achieve and make me proud. Excellent. So, in fact, since that took me so long to read, we'll begin duty next time. Thanks for watching.